Kinji Hakari is not a special grade sorcerer, at least not yet. In the recent chapters of... Oh boy, depending on the next couple of chapters, this video is either going to age incredibly well or incredibly poorly, because 10 months ago, I posted a video talking about the current special grades at that time, and then I delved into why Hakari doesn't meet the criteria, and well, a lot has changed since that video got on. I mean, we got to see Gojo and what he's fully capable of, and we even got a crucial decision between Sukuna versus Gojo, which ended in a split. No, too soon? Okay, fair enough. But Gojo showed us everything that he has to offer in his fight against Sukuna, pushing Sukuna to the very limits. The fight even ended with Sukuna winning. However, I will say that I'm still a firm believer that Sukuna would have lost in that fight had he not gained access to the 10 shadows. Feel free to argue with me about that in the comments down below. I mean, as long as you keep it nice and respectful, please don't call me names. I'm a fragile battle, you know what I'm saying? But the video is not about Gojo or Sukuna for a fact. It's actually about Hakari. But Sukuna, Gojo, Yuki, and Yuta, they're all relative layers in the terms of the discussion. Why? Because they are all special grades. And you might be saying, but you left out Ghetto. And yes, I did. I did this for two reasons. Reason one being is that while Ghetto is a special grade, we saw him face off against Yuta in the prequel series. And in the prequel series, domains weren't really a thing. And Ghetto didn't have a domain. He didn't even seem to have access to RCT. Whereas everyone and their mothers nowadays also has RCT and a domain. But Hakari, yeah, right now he's in a bit of a pickle. You see, Hakari just jumped onto the battlefield feet first with the smoke demon Kashimo and instantly activated his domain, encompassing Uraume. And right now, Kashimo is currently about to go to toe-to-toe with Sukuna. And Kashimo being Hakari's only real opponent within the series so far. No, Yuji doesn't count. Yuji actively let Hakari beat his ass. But the point of all this, my theory right now is Hakari might be the next student to die. And as much as that hurts me, he's currently engaged in Mortal Kombat with Uraume, someone whose abilities we have almost zero knowledge about, other than the fact that they use ice. And now for the long time, I have said styles make fights within Jujutsu Kaisen. And a very good relevant example of this is Hakari versus Kashimo. Hakari and Kashimo threw hands toe-to-toe, and one of the reasons this happened was because Hakari's cursed energy trait was able to minimize the shock damage of Kashimo's cursed energy trait. If Hakari didn't have access to this, he would have likely been more than tased and hit and slapped around in the exact same way Panda did. But right now, Kashimo is fighting Sukuna in a toe-to-toe fight. Does that mean Hakari, Kashimo, and Sukuna are all relevant to each other? No.
Absolutely fucking not.
You'd have to be out your mind if you think that they are. Sukuna is most likely also feeling the effect of Kashimo's cursed energy trait from his punches in the same way Sukuna's cursed duel didn't affect Kashimo's body because of the same trait. And now we've established that the styles here, like within Jujutsu Kaisen, let me tell you why I think Uraume is a very, very bad matchup for Hakari, and why I think Hakari might actually be the next Jujutsu High victim to exit the series. And as sad as that does make me say, we need to first look at the narrative. The students currently outnumber the villains by a lot. We have Sukuna, Uraume, and Kenjaku, and that's it until Kenny pulls out that possible merger. We already just lost Gojo, and unless you're on the copium train that he's coming back, well, alert, he's not. The villains have to whittle down the students, and Hakari is narratively someone Gege can write out of the story based on his technique being luck-based. And I'm sure you've all seen the meme. On this occasion, Kinji Hakari's luck ran out, and yeah, that's something I legitimately can see happening. There was also the point that Sukuna values strength above all else. And I saw a tweet recently, I can't remember who it was that tweeted it, I'm so sorry, but the tweet suggested the idea that Uraume may not actually be the same fodder we believe them to be, and might actually be a smoke demon, because at every point in turn, Uraume's actually been ready to throw hands, even against Gojo. This motherfucker has stepped up to Gojo. I mean, they got their ass beat instantly, but they're obviously someone who can handle themselves, because just like Kenjaku, they have also been wandering around for 1,000 years, and that's a lot of experience to have. And then finally, an ability like Hakari's that relies solely on luck, and yes, using skill to grab all of that luck, I get it, yeah, I'm aware, so don't say in the comments below, it's not just luck, you know? You get what I'm trying to say here. It's an ability that narratively can be written out very easily, and it's also on a time limit versus an ability like Uraume's, who's got a lot of range and literally stops and slows people down in their tracks. Uraume in the back end of Shibuya froze everyone solid, and was, for the first time in the series, we saw Yuji thought legitimately that he was going to die. Like, he genuinely thought he was going to die at that point. And then you top that all off, they also have RCT, something Kashimo seemingly didn't have, as well as the ability to turn their appendages into ice weapons. I'm genuinely not so sure I like Hakari's chances against Uraume. And as for how much it pains me to say it, I really do love Hakari, and I love that he is here to fight right now, but I don't think he's ready to be on this battleground right now. It's not all doom and gloom. We know know Hakari can both take and give a beating, and not only does he have some of the best hands within the series, coupled with his cursed energy trait, Hakari's also got one of the fastest domains, if not the fastest domain in the series, even faster than Mahito's in Shibuya. And I could be wrong here, but I'm almost certain that both Gojo and Mahito have the fastest domain activation times within the series. Feel free to fact check me on this one, but I'm certain that that is the case. But there's also the question of what Uraume's domain is and what it can do, and whether it's barrierless or not, because that would make it 3 for 3 on the higher era sorcerers with barrierless domain. Considering Uraume's been working quite closely with Kenjaku, I could see Kenjaku teaching Uraume something like this. But there is also the final thing that I want to mention. But let's say Sukuna kills Kashimo. Uraume is then killed by Hakari. The next person in sight of Sukuna is Hakari. As much as I love that man, he is not in a good position. Unless anybody else turns up to the battlefield to help him, jump in with him, he's not in a good position right now, whether he wins or loses. But that is everything from me. Let me know what you think in the comments below. You think Hakari makes it out alive or not? You think the restless gambler is going to be able to fucking beat this monster that is in front of him? Or do you think he's just going? You think he's getting ripped out of the story? But that is everything from me. If you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe. It always does help me out. And I will catch you guys all in the next one. Much love. Big kisses. Peace.